He thought it would be easy. Charm a quiet girl, win a school debate, and walk away with both the trophy and her heart. But she wasn't just quiet. She was hiding something. Something scandalous. Something dangerous. And when the truth surfaced, it wasn't just their reputations on the line. It was war. Debates turned into battlefields. Secrets became weapons. And love? That was the riskiest argument of all. This isn't just a school story. This is a war of words, hearts, and hidden pasts. If there was one thing Mensah hated more than morning prep, it was losing. And today he was about to face his biggest threat yet. The school's interhouse debate was around the corner. And as reigning champ and most charming smooth talker in a Henkro Senior High, Mando had never lost. Until now. Because this year, in a twist of fate cooked up by the gods of drama, the girl leading the rival house's team was none other than the mysterious new transfer student, Serwaa. She wasn't just smart. No, Amma was the kind of brilliant that made teachers stammer and students whisper. She didn't speak unless she had to, always sat alone during lunch, and wore oversized glasses like a scholar from another dimension. But when she spoke, when she did, it was like verbal lightning. Mando had witnessed it firsthand during her mock debate audition. The poor boy she went up against left the stage mumbling to himself like he'd seen a ghost. Did you see how she roasted Kwabena? Man's brain evaporated, laughed Mando's best friend, Sly, as they watched from the school corridor. She's not just good, Mando said, leaning against the pillar with a grin. She's poetry with a punchline. And here I was thinking you'd be worried about your debate crown, Sly teased. Nah. Mando flashed his trademark crooked smile. I'm not worried. I'm in love. Sly nearly choked on his chewing gum. You're what? I'm going to win the trophy and her heart. In that order. You sure she even knows who you are? She will. After round 1. What Mando didn't know was that Serwaa wasn't just quiet for fun. She had a secret. A past she'd buried, and a very personal reason for never letting anyone get too close, especially charming boys with too much confidence. It was the day of the first debate prep session, and tension clung to the school auditorium like a thick fog. Each house sat clustered, whispering strategies and sipping sachet water nervously. Mando strolled into the hall fashionably late, blazer unbuttoned, confidence radiating like the Harmattan sun. Every eye turned, especially the girls. Except one. Serwaa sat in the front row of Blue House, legs crossed, arms folded, nose deep in a thick debate manual titled, Critical Rhetoric for the Logical Mind. Mando winked at Sly. Time to make an entrance. He strutted past her row deliberately, accidentally dropping a piece of paper beside her foot. Amma didn't look up. You dropped something, she said flatly. That? Just my number, he said with a grin. Thought you might need it after I win the opening round. She finally looked up, expression unreadable, voice sharp. Is that before or after you learn how to argue without flirting with your opponents? The students nearby laughed.
Mando froze.
Then smirked. Ah, I see. She's got claws. Amma stood and turned to him, her voice cool but loud enough to silence the crowd. I don't waste time on charm. Bring logic. Or bring a chair to watch me win. A hush fell. The tension between them was no longer subtle, it was electric. Later that evening, Mando paced outside the dormitory, phone to his ear. Bro, she just checkmated me in front of everyone. I need a new strategy. Maybe actually try winning the debate? Sly offered dryly.
No, Sly.
This isn't just about arguments. This is war. And in war, you need intel. You're not planning to spy on her debate team, are you? Mando's eyes sparkled. Not spy, just strategically observe. But as he plotted, Amma was writing something in her journal under the dim light of her hostile lamp. He thinks it's a game. He has no idea what's at stake. Mando never planned to become a ninja, but desperate times called for desperate measures. On Wednesday evening, while most students flocked to prep, he crept along the side of the girls' block wearing borrowed pea shorts, a hoodie 2 sizes too small, and Slice Mom's sunglasses. This is ridiculous, Sly whispered from behind a mango tree, binoculars in hand. You look like a broke superhero. Correction, Mando whispered back. I'm a romantic strategist in pursuit of love and victory. Just as he peeked through the window of Blue House's debate meeting room, he caught sight of Serwaa standing by a chalkboard, commanding the room like a seasoned general. If he argues from emotion, she said firmly, we counter with statistics. If he tries to joke, we bury him in research. If he mentions his smile, ignore it. The team giggled. Mando's mouth dropped. She has a counterplan for my smile? She's scary, Sly said. You should just marry her and retire from debating. But just as Mando turned to leave, the window creaked beneath his hand. Creak. Inside, Amma paused mid-sentence. Who's there? Panicked, Mando dropped to the ground and rolled into a nearby bush like a badly trained stuntman. From inside the bush, he muttered, Plan B, Plan B. Later that night, Mando sat on his dorm bed scribbling in a notebook labeled, Operation Amma. Win her over without dying of embarrassment. His roommate, Pascal, glanced over. Still planning your rom-com battle? This isn't a rom-com. It's a revolution. Meanwhile, back in the girls' hostel, Amma received a note slipped under her door. She opened it cautiously. You might defeat me on stage, but can you resist a clever mind and a soft heart? Let's debate that. Over juice. M.
Ama bilinked.
She smirked. Then she tore the note in half. This wasn't about love. Not yet. Not when she still had her secret to protect. By Friday, word had spread across a Henkro Senior High like wildfire. Mando had asked Serwaa out, with a debate-themed love note. Half the school rooted for the romance. The other half eagerly waited to see Mando crash and burn. Mando himself? He was already seated at the school canteen with 2 bottles of chilled pineapple juice. One straw bent strategically toward the empty chair opposite him. She won't come, Sly said, plopping down at a nearby table. She will, Mando replied, adjusting his shirt collar. She tore the note, not her feelings. Just then, Amma walked in, alone, straight-backed, and glowing in a blue and white patterned dress that made even the seniors glance twice. Mando sprang up. She walked right past him. Hey, Amma, he called, jogging after her. You got my note. I did, she said without slowing. And I chose not to dignify it with a reply. Oof. Strong opening, he said, walking beside her. But I've got comebacks lined up like a sermon. Amma turned to him sharply. Why are you really doing this? The jokes? The charm? The juice? He froze. Because I like you. You're smart and fierce, and your sarcasm has actual rhythm. She stared. For a moment, something softened in her eyes. Then, rearing, the fire drill bell screamed through the compound. Students poured out of classrooms, yelling and laughing. Amma sighed. Perfect timing, she muttered, pulling Mando by the wrist. Come on, funny boy, before they trample us. As they ran side by side toward the assembly field, Mando couldn't help grinning. You pulled my hand. Don't get excited, she said, rolling her eyes. If anyone's getting burned today, it's you, on the debate stage. But beneath her calm sarcasm, Amma's heart thumped faster than usual. She hated that, because Mando wasn't just charming. He was getting close, too close, to the part of her she'd spent years hiding. The school auditorium was packed. Every seat taken, walls lined with latecomers balancing on toes, necks stretched like giraffes. It was finally time. Red House versus Blue House, the 2 best debate teams in a Henkro Senior High. But this wasn't just about arguments anymore. Everyone knew the real match was Mando versus Amma. The topic? Technology has done more harm than good. Red House, Mando's team, was opposing. Blue House, Amma's team, was proposing. Mando paced backstage, flipping through cue cards that had more doodles than data. Okay, he whispered to himself. Charm at 60%, logic at 40%, humor fully loaded. Sly peeked in. You sure you're ready? I was born ready. Then I met Amma, and now I'm slightly nervous. Amma stood alone behind the curtain on her side, deep in thought. She wasn't nervous. She was furious. Not at Mando, not at the topic, but at herself. That stupid moment in the field, the way her hand tingled after grabbing his wrist. She shook it off. "Time to focus," she muttered, stepping out as the MC introduced her. When Amma spoke, the room fell silent. Technology has connected us, yes, but it has also enslaved us. Addiction, surveillance, cyberbullying, all gifts wrapped in glowing screens. We scroll, we swipe, but are we living? Thunderous applause. Mando's team looked shaken. Even Sly whispered, "Bro, you're gonna need divine intervention." But Mando just smiled. When it was his turn, he strolled onto stage like a stand-up comedian at a funeral. "I'd like to thank Amma Serwaa for that powerful speech. Really, I almost switched sides halfway through." The crowd roared with laughter. But let's not forget, technology didn't harm us. We harmed ourselves. The tool didn't fail. The hands did. He matched her logic with wit, statistics with sass.
Ama naroyet hares.
This wasn't going to be easy. When the debate ended, it was a tie. Officially. But emotionally, something had shifted. Later that night, Amma stared at her phone, debating herself. Should she text him? Before she could decide, a message popped up. "Mando, if this was a war, I think I just found my favorite opponent." She smiled. Just a little. But beneath that smile, her secret still loomed. And secrets, as Amma knew too well, never stay buried for long. Saturday came with an odd chill in the air, rare for a Henkro. But Amma felt it deep in her bones. She was trying to focus on her chemistry notes when she overheard girls in the hostel hallway gossiping. "Did you hear? The headmaster's niece used to school in Kumasi. They say she was top of her class. Until that scandal." Amma froze. Her breath caught. Not again. She stood up, heart racing, and peeked through her door. The girls weren't talking about her yet, but rumors had a way of slithering fast in a Henkro. She'd worked too hard to stay invisible, to rebuild. But someone had started digging. Across campus, Mando was busy sketching out ideas for a surprise. Not a prank this time, something real. A mural. On the old west wall of the school. A tribute to great debaters of the past. And, yes, a way to impress a certain someone. She likes words. She respects legacies. "So I mix both," he told Sly. "Let me get this straight," Sly said, raising an eyebrow. "You're painting her face on the school wall? Not just her face. Her words. Her passion. The way she almost destroyed me on stage. That deserves a monument. You're officially mad." Later that evening, Mando was painting quietly under the fading light. He added Amma's silhouette, notebook in hand, standing before a swirl of chalkboard words. Let truth lead, not volume. But as he admired his work, he heard footsteps. Amma stood behind him, arms crossed. "What is that?" "A gift," he said, smiling sheepishly. "A mural for the fiercest opponent I've ever faced." "You think I want to be seen?" she snapped. "Put up like some celebrity? Do you even know why I came to this school?" Mando blinked. "To, study?" "No," she said sharply. "To disappear." She turned and walked away, leaving Mando stunned. Inside her dorm that night, Amma stared at a folded piece of newspaper hidden inside a dictionary. The headline read, "Top student caught in exam leak scandal. Family moves overnight." She clenched it in her fist. If Mando really wanted to win her heart, he'd first have to face her past. Mando couldn't sleep. His mind kept replaying Amma's words. To disappear. What did she mean? Why did she sound so broken? For the first time since he'd met her, Mando didn't want to charm or joke his way out of confusion. He just wanted to understand. By morning, the mural was gone, whitewashed. Every brushstroke erased like a forgotten name. Mando stared at the blank wall in disbelief. Who would wipe away art like that? "Someone hiding," Sly murmured. And Mando finally admitted the truth out loud. "She's hiding something." At lunch, he found Amma in the library, corner seat. eyes buried in a book she wasn't really reading. "I'm sorry," he said, sliding into the chair beside her. "For painting me?" she asked quietly. "For assuming you wanted to be seen." She closed the book. People who are hunted don't like the spotlight. He didn't press her. He just sat there, for once, silent. Then she whispered, "I didn't cheat, you know." Mando's heart skipped. "What?" "In Kumasi. That scandal. I didn't leak the papers. But I refused to name the girl who did. She was my only friend. Her parents were struggling. I thought I was protecting her." "You took the fall?" Mando asked, stunned. "They expelled me. My parents moved me here to bury the shame, to keep people from asking questions. But it's already starting again." Mando leaned forward, voice firm. "Let them talk. Amma, you're not your past. You're the girl who debates like thunder and writes like fire." She smiled faintly. Then boom! A loud noise echoed across campus. Students screamed. Teachers ran. Someone had pasted printed copies of the Kumasi scandal article with Amma's photo all over the assembly block walls.
Mando stood frozen.
Amma's face paled. The secret was out, and someone wanted her gone. The courtyard was chaos. Students crowded around the posters plastered on every wall. Kumasi exam scandal. Top girls fall from grace. Amma's face stared back at her from every angle. Like a ghost she couldn't bury. She stood at the edge of the crowd, frozen. For a moment the world blurred. Whispers swirled like a cyclone. Is that really her? She cheated. No wonder she's so smart. So fake. Then she ran. Mando shoved past the crowd, heart thundering. But Amma was already gone. Sly caught up, breathless. This wasn't random. Someone printed those. Someone wanted to humiliate her. Mando's jaw tightened. It was too specific. Too well-timed. Someone from this school. He stormed toward the staff block. "I'm going to report this." "Wait," Sly said, grabbing his arm. "You know Amma won't want that. She doesn't trust the system. Not after what happened last time." Mando clenched his fists. "Then I'll find who did it. Myself." In her hostel room, Amma curled up on her bed, the torn newspaper clutched in her fist. She wasn't crying. She never cried. But this was too much. A knock sounded. She didn't answer. "Mando," came the voice. Soft, cautious. The door creaked open. "I didn't tell anyone," he said, stepping in slowly.
Ama, sivir.
"But I think I know who might have." Her eyes lifted. "Hello. Kwesi. Your teammate."
Ama bilinked.
"Why would Kwesi do that? He's in my house. He's the one who encouraged me to join the debate team."
Mando nodded grimly.
"And he also wanted to lead the team, until you did. He's been jealous from the start." Amma looked away. "Of course. I was foolish to think anyone here could be different." "You weren't foolish," Mando said gently. "But you're not alone anymore." He knelt beside her bed. "Let me help you fight back. This time we win. Together." She didn't answer, but she didn't push him away either. Outside, Kwesi stood behind the corridor wall, arms crossed, a smirk on his lips. Let them bond, he thought. He wasn't done yet. Monday morning arrived with an eerie calm, like the pause before a thunderstorm. The school hadn't stopped whispering. Posters had been taken down by the staff, but the damage was done. Even the teachers avoided Amma's gaze. She walked into class, chin raised, face unreadable. Mando trailed behind her, his eyes scanning every student like a detective with unfinished business. At break time, Amma found him under their usual tree beside the old science lab, a notepad in his hand. "What's this?" she asked. "Our revenge," he said with a sly smile. "Or as I like to call it, Operation Redemption." She raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess. It involves a microphone, a crowd, and a lot of drama." "Close," he said. "The inter-school debate finals are next weekend. And guess who our school is sending as the lead speaker?" She stared. "You," he said softly, "and me, as your second." Amma opened her mouth to object, but he cut in. If we win, we take the spotlight back on our terms. We prove to the school, and everyone watching, that you are more than what they read on a poster. She paused. What if they boo me off the stage? Then we boo back, with facts, fire, and flawless delivery. She stared at him for a moment, then finally smiled. You're crazy. He grinned. You're brilliant. Together, we're unstoppable. Meanwhile, in the Red House dormitory, Kwesi sat with two boys, whispering over a printout of the debate questions. Let them win, he scoffed. Not when I've got the motion and a mole in their team. He laughed darkly. Back at the science lab, Amma and Mando huddled over cue cards, sharing jokes and strategy. You know, Mando said, you debate like your life depends on it. She looked at him and said quietly, that's because sometimes it does. And for the first time, Mando realized this wasn't just a competition. It was her redemption. The auditorium in Accra was massive, air-conditioned, and filled with students from 10 schools across the region. Banners waved, camera crews rolled, and the head judge, an old professor with a beard longer than a school term, sat with folded arms.
Ama stood backstage, girip her note kırts.
Her heart pounded like war drums. Somewhere out there in the crowd were people who still believed the headlines. But today wasn't about them. It was about truth. Mando leaned close. Ready? She nodded slowly. Let's give them a debate they'll never forget. The topic was announced. Forgiveness is more powerful than justice. A collective gasp went through the crowd. Blue House, Amma's team, would argue for. Red House, Kwesi's team, would argue against. Kwesi's eyes sparkled with mischief as he stepped up first. Forgiveness may sound noble, he said smoothly, but let's not confuse silence with strength. Justice is structure. Forgiveness is wishful thinking. The audience applauded. His delivery was sharp, and he'd clearly prepared well. Amma took the stage next. First silence. She exhaled. When I was wrongfully blamed for a scandal, I could have lashed out. I could have tried to expose others. But I didn't. Not because I was weak, but because I knew pain doesn't cancel pain. She paused. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's refusing to be caged by anger. It's saying, you won't control how I heal. The auditorium held its breath. Even the judges leaned forward. Kwesi shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Then Mando stepped in, seamlessly continuing her argument. And when we forgive, we don't weaken justice. We refine it. We make it human. Their words danced, their arguments soared. In the final rebuttal, Amma stared directly at Kwesi. We forgive people, not because they deserve it, but because we deserve peace. Boom. Applause erupted. The hall shook. Later, as the judges returned with results, Amma held her breath. The announcer stepped up, smiling. Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the 2025 Regional Debate Championship, Blue House. The crowd erupted. Mando pulled Amma into a hug, spinning her slightly. She laughed for the first time in weeks. I told you, he whispered. Together, unstoppable. But even as they celebrated, a shadow fell across the hallway behind them. Kwesi stood there, jaw clenched, eyes cold. This wasn't over. 2 weeks after the victory, Amma Serwaa stood before the school at morning assembly, not as a scandal but as a champion. The inter-school debate trophy gleamed beside her, and the whole compound watched in respectful silence. I want to say thank you, she began, her voice steady. Not just for cheering me on at the finals, but for giving me a second chance. She looked at the students she once avoided, and they looked back with admiration, not judgment. A few weeks ago, I wanted to disappear. Now, I want to stay. Not just in this school, but in the light. The students clapped. Some even whistled. Teachers nodded approvingly. For the first time, Amma didn't feel like a ghost. She felt seen on her terms. After the assembly, Mando joined her under the old science lab tree. They're calling you Queen of the Comeback now, he teased, handing her a mango juice. Oh, I prefer verbal assassin. Personally, she replied, sipping with a smirk. You know, he said, leaning back. This started with me trying to win your heart through a debate. And? She asked, eyebrow raised. He smiled. I lost every round. And I still won. She chuckled. Don't get comfortable. I still intend to destroy you next term. I wouldn't expect anything less. They sat together, side by side, notebooks in laps, planning new speeches, new dreams. And just behind them, on a freshly painted wall, a new mural had been quietly added by the art club. Amma holding a book, Mando holding a mic, both standing under bold graffiti letters. When words are used to wound, speak louder with truth. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take from this dramatic tale? We love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit that subscribe button and subscribe to African Tales by Elian. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our latest update. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe and stay blessed.